Now I'd like to call on Dr. John Minns, who is President of RAC, the Refugee Action Committee, and very much a leader of the Refugee Action Movement here in Canberra. And thank you, John.
Thanks, Catherine. I just want to say a few things. The first is that the wrong people are before this court. When you think, absolutely. When you think about it, the crimes, the murders that Witness K exposed in Afghanistan, the murders of unarmed Afghan civilians, including children, took place as much as 10 years ago. 10 years ago, and there's not a hint of a prosecution of anyone for those crimes.
Shame.
Shame.
If such a crime happened here in Canberra with a civilian carrying it out, they would be before a court within days, not 10 years. And it's quite likely that under this government, those crimes will never be prosecuted. Those criminals will never be brought to justice.
Shame.
The illegal and immoral bugging of Timor Leste took place 15 years ago. 15 years and no hint of any prosecutions taking place. And yet the people who revealed those crimes, effectively witnesses to those crimes, are the ones who've been prosecuted.
Shame.
Prosecute the real criminals.
I'd like to ask, if there is a question of national security here, can someone from the government explain exactly how keeping those crimes undercover keeps us, the Australian public, safe? Do they want to keep illegal killings in Afghanistan secret from foreigners because they plan to do it again? Do they plan to keep foreign governments in the dark about the way in which they conduct commercial negotiations over an oil field? They want to keep that secret because they plan to do it as a routine practice? If so, it's not in our national interest. It certainly doesn't protect us if that's their plan. So why do they want to keep these things secret? They want to keep them secret, not from foreigners, but from us. Because they know that if the light of publicity lands on these illegal and immoral practices, that we, the Australian public, will object to them. That's what they want to keep secret, and that's who they want to keep it secret from. And unfortunately, these are not isolated instances. There has been a trend for years now towards increasing the culture of secrecy on the grounds of national security. As Catherine said, I'm mostly involved in the Refugee Action Campaign. And increasingly what we've found in that campaign is that the government uses border protection and national security in order to keep secret what they're doing in relation to asylum seekers. They said first that when they turned back boats, we couldn't know anything about it. We couldn't know how many boats they turned back, when they turned them back, what was the condition of the people on those boats, and whether the people ended up safe in the end. We couldn't know about that. It was an on-water operation. Think about it for a moment. Is it going to be the case that they turn back a boat and they announce that happening, that people smugglers are going to say, look, they've turned back a boat. Great, let's send more boats. It doesn't make sense. They're keeping it from us. Then they introduced the Border Protection Act, the infamous Border Protection Act, which imposed long jail sentences on all of those who worked in Australia's gulag system of detention centres on the mainland and on Manus Island and Nauru. And people could go to jail under that act, and still can go to jail under that act, for simply exposing the terrible conditions in those camps. Doctors, psychiatrists, counsellors, social workers and guards. could all go to jail. The attempt was to cover up the reality of what Australia has been doing to those people for years now. And think again, exactly how is national security compromised by a whistleblower on Nauru? And there have now been more than 100 whistleblowers who've come out with information about the real conditions that we have established in those camps. What would it matter if a whistleblower says the conditions on Nauru or Manus Island are terrible, the treatment of those people is terrible, their condition is terrible? Would it mean that people, smugglers, would say to their clients, let's go there? Of course, it's ridiculous. It's to keep the truth from us. Jeremy Bentham, back in the 18th century, said that without publicity, no good can be permanent. And under the auspices of publicity, no evil can survive. The people who are in this court, David McBride, Witness K, and Bernard Collaery, who are being prosecuted for what they have revealed, are not criminals. They are heroes for exposing that evil, and we, the Australian public, are forever in their debt.
Thank you very much, Scott.